Welcome back to Filmywatchlist. My name is Richard Keeney. Today I'll be reviewing Battle of the Sexes. Battle of the Sexes is directed by Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Faris, the directorial pair who made the terrifically funny and moving Little Miss Sunshine back in 2006. The film is written by Simon Beaufoy, Oscar-winning screenwriter of Slumdog Millionaire. Set in the early 70s, we follow the true story of Billie Jean King, world number one women's tennis player who fought for equal pay and the rights of women in general, revolutionary aspirations at that time. Her fame makes her an enticing target for former world number one, now gambling addict, Bobby Riggs, who may just be Billie's exact opposite, a self-confessed male chauvinist pig who wants to challenge Billie to prove who the superior sex are in the biggest tennis game of all time. In the midst of this, Billie meets Marilyn, a hairdresser who causes her to confront the truth about her own sexuality. On the surface, Battle of the Sexes seems like the freshest of Oscar bait. Take a recent Oscar winner, Emma Stone, for La La Land, and a recent Oscar nominee, Steve Carrel, for Foxcatcher. In a period biopic, the subject of equality and feminism is still largely relevant, and it seems like a formulaic bid for awards. Though such criticism isn't without some merit, it would be reductive to dismiss this film purely on this basis. In fact, in a movie that could have quite comfortably tread through tired cliché and gotten away with it, this is actually frequently avoided in the film. The central emotional crisis is Billie's conflict over whether she should be true to herself and live comfortably as a lesbian. If handled poorly, this could be a true life aspect that makes the story seem almost trite. The filmmakers are strongly aware of the issue of having a strong feminist protagonist who also happens to be gay. Instead of bypassing it or dismissing it as unimportant to the story, the directorial team of Dayton and Faris definitely focus on the details of this conflict. That being, Billie's decision of whether to hide her true self and in doing so contradict the virtues she extols, or come out and risk the undeniable detriment that would have on her career. In the hands of these two directors, the issue is handled elegantly. As mentioned before, the film manages to subvert cliché at nearly every turn. Moments which could have been exaggerated in order to create drama or twist history in favour of present values instead take a much more naturalistic and human approach to character reaction and arcs. Beaufoy's script portrays these people as nuanced, layered characters where they could have been cynically reduced to mere caricature and surface-level attributes in other films. This is abundantly clear in Carrel's Bobby Riggs, a man whose public life thrives on caricature but who the film treats with effective empathy. In line with this refreshing approach, instead of being the chauvinistic antagonist who talks down to Stone's Billie, Bobby is portrayed as an abrasive yet playful man who, despite his brash exterior, we can tell deep down respects his opponent on a human level and does a lot of what he does to satisfy a competitive urge. His relationship with his wife and young son highlight this dichotomy between his public and private lives very well. Carrel is funny, engaging, and very well cast in the role of Bobby. That being said, though very good, Carrel is definitely outshined by Emma Stone. In a follow-up to her Oscar-winning role in the fantastic La La Land, Stone excels in an uncharacteristically subtle performance. The emoting, scene-stealing Mia from La La Land is nowhere to be seen in this shy and restrained interpretation of Billie Jean King. Stone is excellent as the tennis star, accomplishing as much with a silent glance or bite of the lip as other actors would with a showy monologue. Two of Emma Stone's strongest attributes, her huge expressive eyes, are utilised brilliantly in this respect. Just as her conflict explores the grey area of being a feminist icon, sports celebrity and homosexual, her portrayal is fittingly nuanced. We rely on this physical performance and subtle facial expressions as a glimpse into her troubled conscience as she attempts to reconcile her predicament. This predicament is embodied in the form of Marilyn, a brilliant performance by Andrea Riseborough from BIRDMAN and Nocturnal Animals. Marilyn is an engaging screen presence, which is important as we as an audience must be drawn to her in the same way Stone's Billie Jean is in order for their relationship to work. Marilyn is an emotional MacGuffin, for sure, a catalyst for Billie's emotional arc, but she is also part of one of the strongest components of the film. The chemistry between Stone and Riseborough is something that truly shines. It's authentic, relatable and involving. The stakes are high, but their connection appears strong enough that acting on their feelings seem completely worth that risk. Elsewhere, the supporting ensemble complement the film's leads very well. Bill Pullman is suitably unlikable as tennis promoter Jack Kramer, who's perhaps the biggest antagonistic force of the film. Sarah Silverman continues her increasingly strong track record in her growing acting career, with a funny and effective performance as Gladys Heldman. Similarly, the likes of Natalie Morales and Austin Stowell play their parts with fitting care and a humanistic approach. The setting of 70s America is evoked particularly well, be it from the great work in hair and makeup and the production design, the writing and direction which comments harshly on the systemic sexism on display in the public eye, and especially the stylish cinematography by the Oscar-winning La La Land DOP Linus Sangren. Sangren captures the time period beautifully with eye-catching bouquets, and in contrast to the stunning Panavision wide shots in La La Land, he incorporates a much tighter and personal framing choice here, which assists in making the protagonist's struggle all the more relatable. This technique may become overbearing at times, but it is utilised cleverly, used as a method of enhancing the sexual tension and overwhelming nature of Billie's relationship to Marilyn. One aspect of Battle of the Sexes that suffers slightly would be the pacing. The film is marketed as a snappy comedy, and the title is strongly connotative of a more comedic tone, but the film starts out quite gradually. That's not to say the film isn't funny. There are a number of laugh-out-loud moments, but they aren't quite as punchy as one might expect. This pacing decision certainly fits the setting, and could even be said to heighten the relationship arc in Billy and Marilyn's story. However, its incorporation within the plot-driven narrative leading up to the eponymous battle, the tennis match between Billy and Bobby, is a little bit lacking. When the pacing shift required for the big showdown occurs, it's jarring, and as a result the second half of the film appears a bit rushed when compared to the deliberate progression of the opening. Furthermore, for a film so seemingly interested with this tennis match, it seems to happen suddenly, without as much build-up of suspense as it perhaps could or should have had. The film is fundamentally focused on its characters, and has a lot to say about gender inequality and the stereotypical ideas associated with strong female protagonists. Stone proves that a role like that of Billie Jean King could be inspiring and respectful without being showy by taking the time to build a strong, flawed and human portrayal of the tennis pro. Issues aside, Battle of the Sexes is still an enjoyable watch. It feels completely of its time while simultaneously telling a story that can only be told nowadays. I'm going to give the film 3.5 stars out of 5. What did you make of Battle of the Sexes? Let me know in the comments below. If you like my review, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be uploading at least 2 videos every week, and with the award season warming up, there's some terrific films on the way. Next up, I'll be reviewing the Robert Pattinson thriller Good Time, as well as Michael Haneke's Happy End. On top of this, you can look forward to movie lists and video essays on older films that will be coming up shortly. As a side note, I just want to say I appreciate all of your kind and supportive comments so far. It means a lot to me. Thanks so much for watching.